Welcome back to Madam Cross New Horizons. I'm dear darling. Shall we see what's going on a lovely island of Fawnhollow today? So I accidentally dumped my phone. Let's move it over there slightly. Don't want any elbow knocking business going around. Scuffing my table, anything like that. What am I saying? I don't know. So what I've been up to today? Did a bit of programming. Played a few games. That's basically where it's been right now. Not as much drawing recently, actually. I suppose I do need to start drawing to draw the thumbnail art that's going to replace Oberdin, but I haven't even decided what game that's going to be yet. So anyway, hello everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 4:28 PM on Monday, February 22nd, 2021. No news today, except that I plan to bring you another week of entertaining somethings. Don't know. Thank you for that, Isabel. We'll be going on about our business in New Horizons. I'm sorry if you can hear my computer very loudly right now because I'm currently rendering a video in After Effects. I'm stitching two of the Celeste parts together, which I recorded just a bit earlier today, because it got a little bit interrupted. Hopefully that'll be done soon enough. It's about a third of the way through. We've got Leif visiting. That's not particularly exciting. No offense, Leif, but like we haven't had to have new flowers for quite some time. But nor do we really need to sell our weeds to you for double the price. Only 2 more days and then we'll have all our rocks here. All our rocks in a row, I should say. No, hiccups. Sorry, I had a panicky wee earlier. So it might cause my stomach to be like, ugh. I don't know what noise that was. Oh, I forgot what weird decorations we did over here on Jakey's Island. What do we have in our inventory? Festival flag, wedding chair, stone. Sure, apparently we didn't really have much going on, but that's fine. That's what we're going to be doing today, is figuring it out. But anyway, what should we talk about, You know what I'm going to talk about? Recipes. You know what? I like to think of myself as a rather pragmatic person, when it comes to things. I like to do things, usually, I suppose, by the book, in most ways. Like, I like to do things, I suppose, yeah, by the book, by the way they should be done. Unless, I suppose I disagree fundamentally with the way things are currently being done, then in which case I might be like, no thanks, please. I guess we'll look around for 2 fossils first, then we'll come back and customize our shovel. Because, like, follow things to the T. If there's no reason to change what it's been done because it's been doing it well. I mean, sure, you can make it more efficient, but that's sort of more subject to your own opinion. And sometimes you've got to evaluate whether implementing a new system would be worth the time it saves, because it kind of depends on what it is. So yeah, anyway, the whole point of this is I follow recipes quite closely, which, for one thing, very good when it comes to baking. That's why I feel like I'm rather good at baking, because baking's easy. Baking, as I say, cooking's an art, baking's a science. Baking, you just gotta follow the exact amounts exactly as they say, and then if they tell you to do something, do it exactly that way. If they tell you to fold something in slowly, then fold it in slowly. Don't beat it together. Don't put your electric mixer on it on full speed or anything like that, just to save time. There's a reason for a lot of these things in baking, and once you understand that reason, that's when you can start breaking rules. Well, honestly, I think that's a thing that goes with anything. Once you understand the base rules, that's when you're allowed to break them, because you understand the meaning, the purpose, and why they're there. Same thing with art, That's why they teach you to draw with proper proportions and that sort of thing first, despite the fact that a lot of artists out there don't necessarily stick to proportions or anything of that. Anything like that. Why can't we get through there? I guess I have to go through this way. But yeah, a lot of famous artists, of course, things like caricatures, surrealism, cubism, all use very abstract proportions. Nothing exactly very lifelike. Even cartoons and animations themselves, of course, are much more, what's the word? Stylized versions, of course, of real life people. But that's the point. Once you understand the rules is when you can start breaking them. When you can start using designs which go against the fundamentals to perhaps bring a different sort of value to it. I wish I had an example off the top of my head, but I really don't. Oh, you know what? Like things like squash and stretch in animation, In animation, you would theoretically like to convey things as clearly as possible, as true to life as they are, but in cartoons you often do things like rubber hosing. Is it called rubber hosing? Squash and stretch, whatever. Like where you literally break the character's body, when they bend and twist or stretch in impossible, unbelievable, inhuman ways or whatever, just to have some added effects or whatever. Not or whatever. just to have some added effects to the animation to give it a bit more oomph, you know? Something like along those lines. Anyway, the whole point of this is once you know rules, you can break them, which is the whole point of cooking, right? That's the whole point of baking, sorry. You know, once you know rules, then you can start breaking them, and then you can start adding more butter or doing things a different way because you understand. I don't even remember where I was going with this. We're just talking about recipes now. But cooking is a whole different, you know, a whole different world, I suppose. You don't have to follow things exactly by the letter. Oh wait, this is where I was going with it. You know, you got like you can add as much salt as you want, you know. Salt to taste of that sort of thing. Which is, you know, I understand why it's a thing, but it's also like, I kind of wish it wasn't, you know. Things are salt to taste and that sort of thing, but they're always just like a pinch of salt or like a splash of vinegar or something. That's like, what does that mean? What's a splash? Is that like a teaspoon or something? Why can't you just say a teaspoon? But that's the whole point, is you're meant to do it to your own flavouring and satisfaction, I suppose. And if you can't tell the difference between like a tablespoon, a teaspoon of vinegar in your sauce or whatever you're making, then is there really any difference for you? Well, there is a difference, you know. Even if I can't taste the difference as well, that means other people could potentially taste the difference quite significantly, you know. And sometimes when you're cooking, you're not just cooking for yourself, you're cooking just for yourself, and cook whatever you want as long as it's healthy and, you know, you've got a balance of things in your life. Wedding chair, I didn't realise we can customise these. Oh, no, yes, I totally remember now you can customise those. Yeah, if you're cooking for some other people, you obviously want to cook something that they like, and the best way to do that is to follow a good recipe from an experienced chef who's tested the recipe on multitudes of different people who all gave their feedback on what the sort of things and came up with a recipe where a majority of people will like it, right? You know, your goal isn't to be like, oh, I'm going to make something, then if not every single person loves it, then that's a failure. No, you're going to do something because you only had to... I approach things from a very probabilistic standpoint, you know? You do it and then, you know, you do it for the best chance that people will like it, right? So you're going to... If you wanted to cook something with the best chance someone's going to like it, you're going to cook something which is going to appeal to 70% of people's tastes rather than the 30% of people whose tastes you don't necessarily appeal to. Because your goal here is not appealing to them specifically, it's appealing to the... It's to give you the best chance of overall, I suppose, satisfaction, you know? So no, this is just a really roundabout way of saying, I can't believe how vague they are in recipes for amounts of stuff you need to put in, like the tablespoon, teaspoon, you know? Very sensible things. Love that from baking recipes. You tell me to put a tablespoon of corn flour in, you told me to follow it up with a teaspoon of vanilla, and I'm like, yes, you know, get me in there. I know exactly what I'm doing, and I'll follow through with that exactly. You tell me to put a pinch of salt in, I'm like, I don't know, salt to taste, what? I don't know, how do I taste this? It's a chicken breast. It's a raw chicken breast, I'm not going to eat that, I'm not going to lick it. Just cover it in salt. I'm like, okay. But how much is too much? Obviously I'm being very facetious. I know how to cook, mind you. I'm not like an amazing cook or anything. I'm not like an amazing chef or anything, but I can still make something. And I would use my best judgment, obviously. So I'm being very overly facetious when it comes to this conversation. Just playing it up with humour, but still. I feel like I need to preface that before people actually start calling me out on some very one-minded views, I suppose. So yeah, anyway, what was I saying? It's just like, why is there not like a standardised version of what a pinch of salt is? Is it a teaspoon? I don't know. It's just like, it's so vague. And then like, what if I eat it afterwards and it's like, oh, it's so salty. What's a pinch of salt, you know? And why is it even called a pinch of salt? I know you like pinch the salt and then you like sprinkle it on. But that's so vague though. And also, very strange. Like, I suppose it makes sense if you're a chef and you got your mise en place. You got your pile of kosher salt in that little ramekin or whatever. You sprinkle it on like a chef. Obviously, I don't have that because I'm a home chef. I've just got my my little salt shaker or whatever. And I don't know. I don't know how to pinch salt from this. I guess I'll give it 1 shake, 2 shakes. I mean, understandably, you can't really say I'll give it 1 shake of salt because, you know, that's vague in itself. It kind of depends on your salt shaker, doesn't it? But even still, those ballpark estimates are still kind of something you can give a reference to. Oh, hello, Lily of the Valley. If you say a teaspoon of salt, I can sort of at least eyeball it from a salt shaker, right? If you say a pinch of salt, I'm like, I don't know, how big are your hands? I guess. Which I suppose introduces the same variance as Oh yeah, we're going to move this lily, I forgot. Introduces the same variants that people's different salt shakers have, but still. Sort of like, I just want some consistency, you know? I just want to look at something and know exactly what the right amount would be, without having to play some guesswork or whatever going on. Oh, we have far too many tulips, it seems. Kiss me, tulips. Guess we could put a windflower here. Plant a tulip at my feet. And a lily over here. And these other 2 tulips, I don't know what we're going to do with them. Guess we could put 1 tulip here. I'd rather not put a tulip there, though. I think we could put 1 tulip over here. And then perhaps 1 back here. Got to move the squid forward, though. Otherwise it's going to get caught in the fishies. We probably don't need every single fish on display out here, you know. It's just currently, I'm just making the most of what I got. And then the sea of pink and green will sort of fade off into a curve around here. Because that's basically where the fish start. Nice. Alright, let's water these flowers. But I'm just saying, the ambiguity, you know. The ambiguity. And most of all, it's very intimidating for, I suppose, a newbie, right? Getting into cooking, that sort of thing. They have no sense of judgment of, or they don't necessarily have a sense of judgment to taste of what something would be like when it tastes, because sometimes things change in taste after you cook them a little bit. Or maybe I don't know. I'm not a chef. I'm kind of, again, facetious conversation just for the humour of it. But yeah, when you're new to cooking or something like that, you have like no sense of judgment of, or not necessarily no sense, but very little sense of judgment of what constitutes sufficient or reasonable things in a recipe or that sort of thing. So maybe there should just be like a genre of recipes called like new person recipes, where they tell you exactly what to do, you know? Because I know this sort of problem is going to vary from person to person. Some people are very much not recipe people. They're sort of just like, we'll just wing it, you know. But you know, there's still a subset of people, myself included, who are very, okay, if you're going to teach me how to do something, tell me exactly what I need to do. And then once I fully understand it is when I start my own deviations from a norm and breaking its own rules, you know. Because I suppose it's a very, I suppose this is a very personal experience, but especially when my parents were teaching me to cook things when I was younger, they go by, the Chinese way to do things is very, very approximate in anything. And you'll probably know this if you ever heard someone talk about cooking rice in a rice cooker. Well, I'm not going to say for other cultures, but it's very common, at least within my experiences with Chinese culture and through family and friends, and what they say as well. But every time you cook rice, it's like, how much rice and water do you put in? Oh, you put rice up to your first knuckle. Sorry, you put rice in, you fill up water to your first knuckle, or whatever. Whereas the way my dad taught it to me is, you put in the same depth of rice, and you put, whatever the depth of rice is you have, you put that same depth in of water on top. What does that mean? That's so vague. Doesn't that completely depend on the pot and pan you're using? Everything like that? How can you use your fingers as measurement? Your fingers are a different size to mine as well, no less. That's so approximate. But I will say, perfect rice every time, you know? Not necessarily true. Sometimes I put too much water in or not enough water and I'm just like, whatever. We'll just let it go. Let it go. That sort of thing. But it's so vague. It's just like, imagine explaining to your friends, you know, someone who's new to cooking, that sort of thing. They're trying to cook, I don't know, rice and chicken and rice or something like that. Something simple. I got the chicken down, you know, after somehow salting it and pepper with completely random amounts because they have no idea what it means by salt to taste or salt liberally or anything like that. And then we get to the cooking rice part and we're like, oh, hey, dear, how much rice do I put in? Oh, just put like, you know, up to your first knuckle. What? Yeah, you just like stick your finger into rice and, you know, fill it up to your first knuckle and that'll be enough. But are you sure? Like, it's like, yeah, it's what I do all the time and it's always enough for me. It's like, but, you know, my rice cooker pot is a different size than your rice cooker pot. Yeah, but like, it just works, you know, trust me. Ancient Chinese secret. They're just like, so, okay, then how much water should I put on top? Oh yeah, just do that knuckle thing again, but with water. What? Yeah, with water on top. Can't you just like give me a ratio or something? It's like, nah, you don't need a ratio, that is your ratio. 1 to 1. With the knuckles. And it's just like, what? And then, you know, they'll do it and somehow it's perfect rice and it's just like, what? It doesn't make any sense, to be honest. And it doesn't make any sense. How dare it work every single time? How dare it have the audacity to be so inconsistently random, but still work all the same? Which you might, if you're more observant, not observant, but if you give it a little bit of thought, you'll probably be like, doesn't that kind of suggest that rice has a very lenient tolerance with the proportions of like the ratio of things you can put into it with it still tasting fine? And yeah, that's probably what it means. Oh, we have so many cosmoses and windflowers. How has this happened? In fact, that's almost certainly exactly what's going on here. It's just rice is rather lenient, as the case may be. Or something along those lines. And you can do what you want because a pirate is free. You are a pirate. And put rice and water ratios into your heart's content. Now, if you want actual ratios, it's something like 1 to 1, I believe. But it's the same thing with making dumplings. It's like when we make a flour, it's like, oh Dad, like how much flour and water did you put in this? Oh, we just put in like this much flour, and then just like, you know, put in this much water, and then it's like you kind of mix it around and you feel if it's right or not. And it's like, what? But how do I feel if it's right or not? Because I don't know what the feel is, and you know, you just gotta learn. Trial and error, that sort of thing. Which is very much the core principles of it, I suppose. It's sort of like you just guess, and then if it doesn't work out, you get better next time. Because sometimes that happens. Like I cook rice, I'm like, wow, this is just mush. It's like a risotto I've cooked up here, but it was meant to be solid. But like I made a lot of fried rice, I suppose, back in uni. Let's see, we've got a mum, Tulip, a Rose, all walk into a bar. The mum goes up to the bartender and says, I'll have a whiskey on the rocks. Scotch on the rocks. I don't know. I don't have a joke lined up there. I was hoping that if I just kept talking, I'd eventually think of one, but I could not in time, and thus I failed you, so I'm very sorry. No joke will be spoken today. Which is unsurprising, because I'm not very funny. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Aww. Anyway, so the long and short of it is, like, I don't know. Can we standardise what a pinch is? You know, I'm saying all of this, but it really doesn't matter, because the people... No, actually, you know, I'll take it back. I was going to say it doesn't matter, because the actual chefs out there know how much a pinch is. Anyway, we don't need a standardised measurement for it or anything of that ilk. So there'd be no point in having someone like that. But then I thought about it more. I was like, okay, well, if it doesn't matter for the chefs then, it matters for the people who are learning to cook, right? So why not give it for their benefit as like training wheels or something? A little bit of assistance to hold their hand as they get to grips and understand the consequences. But then I suppose, of a counter side to that, it's sort of like you give them too much of a crutch, where they become overly reliant on them and develop bad habits from, or something like that, right? If you do that too much, then... If you do it too much, then, sorry. If you do it too much, then, why am I talking to you again? I didn't mean to. What was I going to say? If you do it too much... Oh yeah, then they develop bad habits and they'll never be able to get rid of that crutch. Unless they keep on cooking and then thus require it when you really don't need it in the end, I suppose. It's a difficult situation, so I had to drink some water. Been talking for about an hour and a half and it's wearing down my throat. Making it hoarse. Using up my throat. You know what, I'm just going to stop that sentence right there. Anyway, yeah. I mean, I suppose in the end it's because in baking the ratios are much more important because it's, you know, it's a science, you know. If you're baking bread and you put the wrong amount of yeast or whatever in, you're going to get, like, bread which rises up too much or something. I know. I've never baked bread before. Okay, so don't... You know what, I should have said cookies. If you put too much butter in, you're going to get super melty cookies that spread out too much of them in, what's it called? The oven. I was gonna say microwave, and I was like, that's definitely wrong. On who cooks cookies in a microwave? Lay it on me. Pour some sugar on me. Get up, mirror. I got something to give you. But to be fair, once I figured out a good way to bake cookies, I don't really deviate from that recipe all that much. I don't experiment all that much. Because I'm just like, why change? Why mess with a good thing? Especially if it's a very good thing, like when brownies apparently are. Although I haven't had to make them for a heck of a long while, because it's been forever since, obviously, can't meet up because of the whole world situation right now. But hopefully, people say that maybe around July, every single adult should have been offered the miracle cure, a vaccine, I suppose, in the UK at least, or something. I think it was July, I can't remember. So it's still a while off, but, I'd much rather the people who need it get it first, to be honest, like, those most in danger. Like, if I get it, then I'll probably be okay. I don't have any breathing issues. I like to think I'm a healthy adult. Sucks being a healthy adult, can't get a vaccine. Anyway, not really a point. What was I talking about? I don't know. Cooking. Tablespoons, teaspoons. Also, why do we have such a weird... Like, why do we use the imperial system? Where am I going? I'm trying to look for Bruce. I forgot that's what I was wondering about for. Also, what do we have in our inventory to decorate with? With the wedding chair, remember that? Festival flag. I don't know what to do with that. I suppose it'd be like, as you come out of the forest, there'll be a festival flag being like, hey, you're in party zone. Watch out. Or you're going to have a good time. What am I saying? It's a rainbow one. What a weird rainbow flag. White, red, pink, green, yellow, blue, purple. We'll put the wedding chair down, Lily of the Valley. Bruce wasn't in his house, was he? He might be in Able Sisters then, if he's not, he's in the museum. Yeah, he's not in his home. So I guess we got to go walkabouts and find him. We need to check out the Nook terminal, actually. Oh, have we checked out the Nook terminal already? I can't remember. Honestly, can't remember. Yeah, but why don't we use the imperial system? In baking recipes, at least. And tablespoons and teaspoons. Why don't we just use grams? I know the answer. I'm being facetious. You use tablespoons and teaspoons because everyone has tablespoons and teaspoons. No one's got a 50-gram... So it just makes the measurements easy. Like, if you say, like, 10 grams or something, you're going to have to, like, measure it out or whatever. We already got KK Western, apparently. You got a teaspoon or tablespoon. Just grab a teaspoon or tablespoon from a drawer. And bada bing, bada boom. You got exactly what you need. You got what I need. Yeah, you got what you want. Just there and there. It's sort of standardized by the fact that when you make recipes, you'd make them yourself, and you'd probably use your own tablespoons and teaspoons, because especially back in the old day, you don't got a digital scale helping you out, telling you how much of something you're putting in. You just sort of got to eyeball it and put your own spin on it. And once you figure it out yourself, how many tablespoons and teaspoons you put in, is the only way you got to measure it. No standardized system. But. I don't know what the but was. I kind of forgot what I was saying. But then why use cups and sticks as well, It's the same reason, but we've evolved as a society, I think, to move on past having requirements of... This one I wanted to buy. A full fur skirt. Well, which one should we buy? This one, I guess. That's always the colour we buy first. And then we'll buy, I don't know, a heart sweater? Sure. What? Hot dog hood? Obviously got to buy that. Nose drip. This looks terrible, what we're doing right now. But I'm still buying them all. I don't know what colours we don't have, so let's do something like that. But as a society, we've moved past having to rely on an imperial system, A metric system, if we were raised with it, it's just as intuitive as a imperial system, and even better because conversion is easy. Now I say this with the ironic part of living in England is we use a mix of both the imperial and metric system for no apparent reason. Why? We use distances in miles, speed, miles per hour, height, meters. Why? We don't use feet. Just for no apparent reason. How much milk are you going to buy? Going to buy 4 pints. Why? Why is that pints? What about that Coke can over there? Oh, it's 330 milliliters. What? It doesn't make any sense. Why do this? Steel flooring? Pretty sure we're ready now to make that. It's like, why have such a mishmash? Why can't we just be normal? Ah. That's a Babadook reference there for you, if you've ever seen it, which I have seen. Sort of, my friends. I just lost my train of thought. Yeah, but I mean, long story short, just like, I don't know, standardized recipes. It's honestly a very absurd thing to say in the first place, because there's sort of something which are just like, you know, casual things done in the family. Like, you know, oh, this is my grandma's recipe or something. Oh, sorry grandma, you can't give it to your grandkid because you haven't standardized it using the ISO convention for recipes, and thus, you know, it's an illegal recipe, unlicensed recipe. Could be harmful. Is that okay? But maybe let's not go that far. Let's not take this to the other logical extreme of saying we need a totalitarian what? You know, you know what word I'm trying to say. If you don't know what word I'm trying to say, I'm sorry. Control recipes or things like that. Obviously very facetious, but still, just like, I don't know, make it convenient, but also standardize at the same time, which is impossible. Because there's also a very common problem. I'm not sure what we're gonna do for the next 4 minutes actually. But because I haven't done talking here. The other problem is using an American recipe. Is I guess we'll just look for furniture items to put down. Is you look at American recipe, you'll be like, oh, 4 cups or whatever this, and be like, okay, I'll convert 4 cups to whatever it is in grams. I don't know what that is on grams. Okay, maybe like butter. You're like, okay, butter is like, a stick of butter was like 110 grams or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, I can only buy butter in like packs of 250 grams here in UK, so if I, you know, use this recipe twice, I'm going to have 30 grams of butter left over. What am I going to do with 30 grams of butter? I'm going to have to find the lowest common multiple of 110 and 250, which is going to be, what, 11 times 25 times 10 is? What's that? This is 11 times 250, isn't it? 2,750. That's the lowest common multiple? I'm going to have to do this? Make this recipe that many times? It's absurd. Absurd. I tell you. There's no way I'm going to do a recipe that many times. Just have a solid amount of butter. So it's like, okay, well, I guess I know baking's meant to be a science and all that, and I'm meant to be very precise with it, but I guess we'll have to give and take a little bit here and there to really get it working. I wonder if we can customize this cello. Be quite nice. So, you know, instead of 110 grams, I guess I'll put 125 grams and hope it doesn't compromise the whole integrity of a cookie I'm making or whatever. You know? It's just like, I mean, maybe you're like making some pasta or something and it says that, oh, use like 2 pounds. It's like, okay, I'll use 2 pounds of pasta. Oh, what? I can only buy pasta in 1 kilogram bags. That's 2.2 pounds. It's absurd. It's outrageous. Something like that. I don't know. So in short, long and short of it, there's not really a conclusion here. It's just, you know, that's just kind of how things are, I suppose. Oh, you know what? We should put those lovely white roses that we got from Valentine's Day. Yeah, these things. Heart-shaped bouquet. That seems like it'd be fitting on the Jakey Island. Honestly, we should just round this episode off here. I don't know. I'll put this flower bouquet down and then, yeah. There we go. That's my rant on recipes, I suppose. Again, reminder, it's all very facetious. I'm doing it in tongue-in-cheek. Don't take what I say seriously. I'm just doing it to fill up the conversation hours. And I'm playing it up for a bit. Oh, this is actually tiny. Also, it doesn't look very good like that, but I don't know. Future me can decide on design decorations, but for now, if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, all greatly appreciated. Join me Discord, follow me on Twitter. I hope we can see each other again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now. Don't even get me started on a spoonful of sugar. Oh my gosh.